Alright, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Empty Theater Show. I'm your host, Craig Fairbanks. And on my right, there is...
John Joyner.
And on his right, we've got...
Sean Hawkins.
Yeah, and if you guys aren't familiar with the Empty Theater Show, the concept's pretty simple. Every week, 3 or 4 friends get together, preferably artists, and we all bring one topic to the couch that has something to do with art. It could be dance, music, film-based, doesn't really matter. We just bring it out and try and talk about it, get kind of like a backstage feel of a show, maybe like an after rehearsal vibe, maybe before class when you go to coffee. So if you can't tell, we're definitely not experts. This is just subjective opinion, but we kind of want to form a community of people just bouncing ideas off of each other and hopefully helping each other think a little bit more about the things we care about. So that's what's up today. Boys, how we doing?
Doing good, baby.
Doing good, baby. Michael, how we doing? You look like you're ready to go ski. You look like you're ready to skin a grizzly bear and then just put its carcass on your back and go down the mountain to a wonderful Swiss woman, and maybe you have some cocoa with marshmallows.
Just trying to be a fashion icon.
I love it. I love it. The hair looks
I'm a
on
Maxinista.
point. Maxinista.
I'm a Maxinista today. I saw the commercials. I bought into the ad campaign. I thought, why not me?
Why not you?
Oh, by the way, our episode,
Sponsored by-
our podcast episode is sponsored today by TJ Maxx. They gave us little to no regard. That's what they gave as it pertains to this episode specifically. So, for you all out there, all 2 of you, check out TJ Maxx.
There you
They got
go.
a lot of things.
Free shout out for TJ Maxx. Alright guys, I think let's start the show today with my topic, which is I want to do something that has to do with currently what we're creatively ingesting that's maybe inspiring you or helping you think differently. So I want to do a 3 for 1.
Okay.
3 different categories, 1 thing.
Okay.
What are you listening to?
Okay.
What are you reading?
Uh-huh.
What are you watching?
Listening,
Reading,
watching.
watching. So I'll go first.
Okay.
Well, if you must.
Unless you guys want to. Do you
No,
guys
that's
feel
okay.
about it? I want to give you guys a
No.
little think time.
No, we'll sort this out.
So I'll go for listen first.
Okay.
And I'm going to do an album that we talk a lot about. I don't know if Sean's listened to. I'm going to go for Harry Styles' self-titled album.
Ooh.
I think it is immaculate. I think it is so good. Got that Britpop vibe to it.
Mm-hmm.
I totally wrote off Harry Styles because of One Direction, because I just was like, nothing against boy bands, but boy bands. So I wasn't, you know what I mean? I wasn't sure what I thought about him. And then we dropped the album, and Sign of the Times is an incredible song. Carolina, Sweet Creature. I think there's just some really heartfelt stuff in there, and it's got a really a good creative process to it. And it would have been a lot easier maybe to do something like other members of the boy band he left. It's something a little more top 40 that would probably be played a bit more. And sure, Sign of the Times got a little airtime. It's doing pretty well for itself, but most of the album I wouldn't say is mainstream music for 2017. You've listened to it, I know. What do you think about the
It's
album?
masterful.
It's great, isn't it?
I just have a question. So, does your okay, first question, did your opinion change after you watched the documentary about the making of the album?
I liked it more, but I already had the whole album before then.
But so you were already on it.
I was already on
before.
board
You
because of the sound.
didn't need to be
Mhm.
told. You didn't need to see the behind the scenes. How
Well, I
was
liked
going.
it. I love that type of stuff.
Well, yeah. Well, I know, but it's
It made me like it more. It's always interesting. I think it's called Harry Styles Behind the Album. It's on YouTube. You can watch it for free. But it's them going through the process of making the album. And the band, One Direction, I guess, had just broken up. And he goes to the Bahamas and basically gets the other people in his new band together. And they just write for a couple months, I guess.
Yeah. Like that.
And it's just a really, it seems like a very honest take on what it's like to make a creative endeavor. So, but yeah, it just, to answer your question, it just made it more so. Because
Okay.
it's, you kind of
Yeah.
you feel like you were there.
No,
I feel
yeah.
like you're a little bit a part of it.
I'm a huge believer in your perception of something influences the reception of it, especially in terms of work. So
Oh, definitely.
while you could appreciate the album for solely what it is, for me that's how, because I heard I think a couple of the singles from it
Mm-hmm.
before, and then definitely didn't listen to the whole album through.
Sure.
And then to watch the documentary, they recorded it all at Abbey Road studios.
They got
so.
you right then.
Oh yeah, I mean, and it's it's not the first like modern artist to do that. Bastille did
Sure.
a live set there. It was awesome. It was really really cool. So yeah, like obviously like the context was special and it was neat, and you could tell that they as performers were like very much aware of how important it was. But after seeing the documentary and hearing all about what went into the album and what he was trying to do and how it was being made and the process and the people that were making it, it was just like, ah, man, like and I'm talking like I know Harry Styles, but it seemed
But
like
you felt
he
that
was
way.
talking,
You felt a connection to
yeah,
someone,
and
which
you were
is
like, oh, you're not a superstar even though you are,
Mhm.
and you're not this big like phenom, this sex icon, this like boy band member. You're
You seemed like a guy.
who's just trying to make art with his friends, and
Yeah.
at the end of the day, isn't that what anybody else is doing?
Exactly.
So I was a huge fan. But I needed the documentary to get into the album because
otherwise
I had nothing. I didn't know. I could before. I couldn't name
Mhm.
all of the One Direction members. I still think I would be challenged, hard pressed to do that.
Oh, I bet I could. Should I try?
But for last names too, I have no idea.
Definitely not gonna try.
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it honestly.
Pronounce
Some of
what?
them.
Their names?
Well, no. I mean, I know how to pronounce it, but like their last.
Oh yeah.
We were driving past the Palladium the other day, and Niall, I guess, was playing. I have no idea how to say his last name. Horan?
I don't know. Sean, you're an expert.
I'm at a loss for these names.
You got nothing.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Nothing to add.
Yeah. There you go. Have you listened to the album at all?
I just listened to what you showed me in the car a couple days ago,
Yeah.
and I was very impressed.
Yeah,
I
it's
really
great.
enjoyed it.
It really takes you off guard, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I really enjoyed that. And also, I was going to say, too, that what you said about him just as an artist, watching him in Dunkirk, going from putting out this project to then acting in Dunkirk for kind of, I don't think he's done a ton of acting stuff, but I was very impressed. He was very
He
natural.
was good.
Very,
He was
just kind of
solid.
a highlight to
Yeah.
watch.
Homeboys just got it, right?
Yeah. Set.
But he doesn't come off as that arrogant. He comes off as an artist.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody who.
He's just trying to make stuff.
Yeah.
Nice.
Super,
But
super
yeah.
cool.
Cool.
I'd love to hear more of it. So.
Yeah,
And they should just.
we'll
make
definitely
an
listen
effort
to it
do that.
sometime.
Yeah, well, we got it on. If we didn't break copyright, I'm sure we'd
Yeah.
put it on and listen
Put it
to
on
it
right now. Yeah.
Just mute the rest. That's probably what we should do anyway.
You should
just
stop
mute
this,
the rest
listen
of
to the
it.
album,
Just see
listen
us
to the
being
album
like.
again, and then throw away YouTube. So that's what I'm listening to. What I'm reading, I'm going to go to a book by Tim Ferriss called Tools of Titans. Have either of you ever heard of this book?
Hey, isn't that the offensive playbook for the Tennessee Titans?
Yes.
Mm.
Tim Ferriss has a podcast he does where he brings on successful people from different industries,
Sure.
different artists, maybe a CEO, maybe an actor, maybe whatever have you. And he has compiled a bunch of different information from like the best snippets of all those interviews into one book that's like this big. I believe it's called, Tools of Titans, I think is the right way to say it. And it's a really interesting book because it's not like a book where you have to read like page 1 to whatever the end is. You can kind of like flip through it, and whatever sort of like wisdom you need for the day, that's what you get from it. So maybe you need like, I don't know, like motivation for exercise. Well, there's, people in there, I think like
The founder
Jocko
of
Willink,
Fitbit.
who's like the founder of Fitbit.
Yeah. I don't know.
Sir
FF Fitbit.
FF Bit to you, Duke of Wellington. I don't know.
It's probably
But yeah, there's just a lot of really interesting snippets in there, and it's a good way to kind of like get someone else's point of view on something. Have you guys ever heard of Tim Ferriss or Tools of Titans? Any of that? I like a lot of like. I guess you would
Sounds
qualify
familiar.
it as self-help, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
he's the same guy that did 4 Hour Work Week, 4 Hour Chef. Those books were out a little while ago. So yeah, that's what I'm reading. And then for watching, I'm gonna go for something that I watched before, but I rewatched recently this year, and that's Mr. Robot.
Game of Thrones.
Oh, you're back.
Mr.
now.
Robot, which I know neither of you have watched,
No.
but I'm gonna give you a little pitch on it right now.
Sell it
It's-
to me,
I
baby.
think the first season is one of the tightest individual seasons of any show I've ever seen.
in terms of
cinematography, in terms of plot, and in terms of twists, and like not being able to anticipate where it's going. I think it makes a really interesting commentary on cybersecurity and what we have going on right now in America, and it's made me be like, I'm a little worried about stuff now that I wasn't worried about before. I think it does a great job of focusing on character development without you feeling like they're focusing on character development. You know, you care about these people because you just keep seeing them in their lives without feeling like, and now the B story. You know what I mean? Incredibly well acted, incredibly well written. The creator does a lot of references to other pieces of art that he likes. Like there are some references to V Vendetta, Fight Club. He seems like he's a very big David Fincher fan. He's got like kind of the same lighting aesthetic and the same sort of like, there's like a close-up he uses that's like sort of from below but still a close-up. I don't know how to describe it, but it's one of the best looking shows that I'm watching right now. I just think it's really great. I think it's definitely worth checking out. Really stellar across the board. So you guys, what do you think? What are you guys reading? Watching, listening, what do you
I
recommend?
love how you say reading first.
Well,
this old guy's
listen,
been reading quite a bit.
listen,
Do you know how to
watch?
read? Are you literate?
And it doesn't have to be a book. It doesn't have to be a book. It could be an article on Facebook.
Sean, what does
it could
that
be
say? What is-
it could be a loving text
No.
from Grandma Hawkins
Ah.
saying, "Shawnee boy, you put that honey in your tea today because you got a raspy throat and I love you, and boy, you don't want a raspy voice on that podcast."
I don't even have to talk. You nailed. That's exactly what.
Sean.
No, you know, I used to read a lot before these two showed up, and then
So it's our
threw
fault.
the books away and said, "Love is really what I want." So
Go on.
Yes.
Okay, let me get down to it. So listening. Okay, so I just got back from Vegas. Maybe it's been a little bit too long now. 3 weeks, and I saw one in Vegas, which was a Michael Jackson tribute show, and I've been stuck on if I start listening to other stuff, and then all of a sudden I'm turning on Michael Jackson
Nice.
again, and I just get stuck on Earth Song and Stranger in Moscow and some like kind of vibey stuff. I don't know. It'll pass, but it'll never pass type of thing.
So what's it doing for you, Larry? What, you just like the sound?
There's
the
nothing.
feel?
One of my favorite things about being in Los Angeles, I hate being in the traffic, but gosh, that time you have to just listen to music and crank that up and just. Because that just fills me in a certain way that I really enjoy.
Nice.
So anyway, it's been Michael Jackson lately.
Really good.
Watching, I just finished Glow, and I'm in a transition, and I'm just about to start the 3rd season of Narcos.
Now, what's Glow again?
What's
So
the
Glow-
Netflix special, isn't it?
Netflix. Yep, they're both.
The Glamorous Ladies
Glamorous
of Wrestling.
Ladies of Wrestling, and I was hesitant. I was one of the probably later people to start the show. I was really hesitant about it. I thought, but I started it, got right into it. Mark Maron, who Craig and I we talked about recently, but just such an incredible guy. I hope someday he watches this and somehow comes across this very.
He has you on
moment that we talk
WTF,
about
and he's
him.
like, "Hey, welcome to my garage, Sean Hawkins.
Yes.
Obama's been in here, and now you, man, keep
I
your
was
lights
so-
on."
I'm gonna stop you right there.
No, go ahead.
You go ahead.
I don't know what I'm saying. No, I'm very impressed with him. I think we both kind of talked about that.
Yeah, he's
He's a great actor. A great artist. Anyway, the show was great. Got to the last episode, the finale, and teared up a little bit. And that's all I wanted from the show. Just to feel, you just watch. For me, I watch the show to, if I can feel it and be in it, then I'm kind of sold on it.
Is it
That's all.
is it like a comedy? Is it a drama? Is it
there-
a
no,
dramedy?
No, it's more of a comedy for sure. But they do such a good job of tying in real story to their comedy. But I thought it was great. I finished it. Now I've been itching to start Narcos 3rd season.
I gotta watch that.
I'm just in love
People
with
keep
it.
telling me to watch that. Have you watched Narcos?
Yeah, I made it through the first 3/4 of season 1, and I just didn't.
Didn't
ran out of
hook ya?
legs. I ran out of. No, it did, but I just.
You know what the hell?
I can't keep up with it.
Yeah.
I can't.
There's too much TV.
It's a real job. I feel like you could, in the same way that people
Oh, absolutely.
go on like tour chasing and they go see all of these different live bands that come through their particular city and they're like invested in the community. I feel like this dumb, stupid, dried up prune
Mm-hmm.
on some beach somewhere in the island, just an island by myself. And I'm sitting there like, Netflix, I wish I could. And everyone else is enjoying themselves.
They're in
and
the waterfall.
splashing. And they're like,
Throwing
guys,
a
have
beach
you
ball
seen
that
this?"
has Narcos written
Yeah,
on it
I
between
just-
themselves.
And I'm just sitting there
Laughing.
like, I wish I could like that, and I do, but I can't commit.
They
And-
drink a Coke and it looks like a magazine ad and you spill it down your chest.
Oh my gosh.
Sean, I'm going.
Let's
go.
Yeah. So yeah, no.
Yeah, I feel like I do that with so many
It's
shows.
hard.
You
It's gotta get you at the right time and the right moment.
I'm really disappointed. I've started Mad Men like 3 times and gotten through the second episode. And I'm just like, I just am not in the right frame.
can't
of
do it.
mind to get, and I'm like, this is. I know it's a great show. It's been a great show, but I just dropped the ball.
It's one of my favorite shows. Just to comment on it quickly, but I watched over a long period of time. I didn't binge it. It was like a long, slow thing.
Yeah.
Because it is something very much where like it's like a very methodically paced psychological show.
I will say John Hamm walked into T-Pop in North Hollywood when I was sitting in there in sweatpants and a hat and everything, and he was kind of rushing because he knew it was one of those places that people would probably. So he kept running. And I just remember the only thing I could think. Did I tell you this?
Was it about? Did you think about his huge penis?
Close. Flip that around. I said this guy has a huge ass.
Nice.
He just had this bubble butt and his thing and his pants were. And he was just. That's all I could think about.
Wow, what a guy.
John Hamm, big bubble butt Ham.
I hope he sees this sometime later in the future.
We'll do it.
And he says, "Fuck that guy in the goofy looking sweater and turtleneck."
You guys meet on Mark Maron.
Oh, that'd be nice.
WTF. That's
comfortable.
That's how it's all going to come together.
So John, tell me about your butt.
We talked about it once in depth, about 2 minutes of a hour-long podcast. When you break down, it was quite a lot. It was a substantial amount of time.
And then John Hamm waxes poetic for like 90 minutes, doesn't let you talk. It's like, well, let me get into it.
The buttocks.
What are you reading?
The dog.
What am I reading? This question. I've been waiting. I'm not reading right now. What a sad thing.
What have you read online?
Oh.
What have you read?
Instagram
the stars
posts and horrible.
That's okay.
Deteriorating things. No, but I am. Farewell to Arms and the Bryan Cranston book that Craig has so generously given me are on my list, and they will be. What's today? Thursday. I said I'd read it this week, so I guess tomorrow is the day.
The freshman reading list is out. Summer reading.
I don't really, and it comes off so silly because I love, and when I first, Craig, I'm the same as you too. Self-help books, I guess they don't fall in that category, but or they do.
Farewell to Arms?
No, but like the Bryan Cranston book, Michael Caine's, film books, things that kind of just give you a different look on things, and but they're also motivational, and that's kind of my cup of tea. Because if I'm going to read, I want to be like, I don't know.
You swept away? Captivated? Yeah. Wooed?
Yeah.
Wooed.
Well, let's cut the cord short on that. It's the reading list is large and the reading is short.
Golly, your third grade elementary school teacher is just like weeping right now. She's probably not seeing this either. And just like, oh, Sean, you could have.
He read at 5th grade level. He read at 5th grade level.
I was in talented and gifted. I was in tag. I should have done something.
Did? Man. What became of you, Sean? The saddest question you can ask. What became of you?
Now he's a sellout. And Toyota commercials just...
You changed on us, man.
The art is gone.
Used to be a man of the people.
You probably have an Audible.
I remember you when you were old Davy Jones in Aladdin. Or no, not Aladdin. Goodness me. There are psychotropic drugs in this coffee. What show is that?
Peter Pan.
That's exactly the same fucking thing.
Alright, take this away, Michael.
Michael, what are you listening to, reading, and watching? Answer right now.
Yeah, so...
take it away.
Listening, I've been kicking about the old Pete Holmes podcast.
Yeah, what's it
as
called?
Of late, everyone knows what it's called. There's
probably not.
I guarantee it.
Well, more people know what it's called than what this is called.
We're trying to get all of his fans and make them our fans. So they should. Every single person should know about You Make It Weird. You made it weird. Excuse me. Excuse me. Sorry. You made it weird. I knew it. I had a speech impediment as a child. Wow. So I've been listening to that recently. In terms of music, I don't know if I am listening to anything in particular. I haven't been kicking anything about recently. No report.
Podcast is good. It's a great show.
Yeah. Yep. So that's what I've been listening to.
Alright.
There you go. Reading, I've been on this, it's an older book in terms of contemporary poetry, but it's called Milk and Honey.
Okay.
Butcher this young lady's name. I've never heard it spoken aloud. I believe it's Ruby Kaur.
How would you write it?
Rupikaur, I think.
There you go.
I
So,
think.
however that's correctly pronounced.
I think.
Yeah.
If I remember the cover correctly, but it's very, very nice.
Yeah. I feel like I've seen that
It's been on my
on
desk.
bookshelves.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Well,
sounds very familiar.
if you remember our trip to the Glendale Americana out
Barnes and Noble.
the Barnes and Noble is sitting out on
Absolutely.
the.
Okay, yeah.
it's
I
a
feel
New
like I've
York
seen it
Times #1 bestseller.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
what. Yeah.
That's
There
how
you
they
go.
get you. It had the bee on the cover, the black with the white bee.
there. Nice.
Nice.
But yeah, it's a super cool book. It's about a relationship that she had with a man, and it didn't seem like it was the healthiest, but she's such an incredible artist that she wrote just some of the most phenomenal, beautiful, soul crushing, sad, melancholic things that you're just like, I know that you're telling me not to like this guy, but I see your love and I want to like him so that he's different. It takes you through it, but it's 4 parts and it's divine. It's just a very clever style of poetry, and it's become more of a style in and of itself. I mean, like the Milk and Honey, it's kind of like it's almost like a genre of contemporary poetry now.
Did either of you ever study poetry?
Not enough to know.
Yeah.
Like, I had
Got
to in college for a long time. I remember working very hard on the tests. I remember working very hard on the final. I remember getting an okay grade on the final. And I couldn't tell you anything about it now.
Nothing.
I think it was because it was like first semester
Right.
freshman year. So like, your first finals,
Right.
you're like, this is war. you don't know what to expect. You feel like people are
Yeah.
just going to come out and attack you with assignments. And the days are only like 16 hours long and you don't know what to think.
What
But
was
yeah,
that class?
It
Or
was
you were somewhere else to begin with.
Yeah, it
in
was when I
Bellevue.
was and it was like freshman advanced English. But our teacher just
Interesting.
was always like, well, this is my favorite class because I
Right.
actually get to give you stuff. And he would assign us like a lot of stuff.
Wow.
Was your teacher Robin Williams from Dead Poets Society?
No, close.
You never
Dr.
seen it?
Huberly.
Captain Mike.
What show riffs on that? There's one. I can't remember the
I
television
knew
show.
it too.
It's the episode where the teacher thinks he's from Dead Poets Society. I feel like it's like Family Guy or something like that.
Oh,
I don't know.
I was
It's a
thinking it was
cartoon.
Always Sunny.
I don't know.
I don't watch that show, but
It's out there
that's what it was.
somewhere.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's what I've been reading, and then I've been watching a lot of Rick and Morty recently. I'm sure you've heard me in the other room.
I have.
Yes, so I recently discovered Dan Harmon's Story Circle, which for anybody out there who is an artist making things, it is
Worth the Google.
it's a really cool sort of tool that I guess Dan Harmon refined over years and years and years and years of locking himself in closets and like watching television by himself and all sorts of stuff. And it basically just, the circle plots out, the life of a particular scene, or it could map out an episode or like an entire season arc if you're fleshing it out that much. But it essentially starts with the character, they want something, and then they find themselves in a difficult situation, and then it goes and it goes and it goes, and then it's kind of like a
It's
hero
like it's
saga,
like
rolled into.
they're in a
eight simple
comfortable
steps.
situation where they don't need anything, but they want something.
Right.
They leave to go get something else that they want to a dangerous situation. They get it.
pay a
It
heavy
costs
price,
them something.
yeah.
Then they return
They
back to the
return
original circumstances,
having changed.
having learned or changed.
Yeah.
And then it just
And
keeps
it goes
going.
back and back and back
Yeah.
and back and back. And it's really, I mean, Rick and Morty, for those who haven't seen it, it's a very heady show,
Plot
not in
heavy.
the
It
sense.
just keeps it. It's like if
it's
you
very
would think
deep,
of like
yeah.
the ABC of like a story, Rick and Morty's like that 50 times.
Right.
Like the plot just like keeps resetting and,
And it's
going and
weird
going.
and
then
it's
somehow it all
surreal
connects.
and-
Yeah.
And they're like zany characters in ridiculous situations, and so as somebody,
I mean, you've
it's
seen
just
it,
like a
and you've
layperson,
very
like a
much like
fan,
seen it, yeah.
it's like, oh, that seems like that would be really difficult to write. I don't know how anybody would even begin
But
to
you can
start.
almost conceptualize it when you see the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great stuff. Have you ever seen it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
I'm a big fan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't watch it much on my own, but when we watch it together, I watch it with other roommates, and
Yeah.
always something to.
Something make you think.
Topic 2, Sean.
Tomato.
Sean.
Yes, for words.
Sean. Hey, what's your topic?
Okay, good transition there. Let's see.
Seamless, smooth, effortless.
Baby's bottom. So I want to talk about social media's influence on our industry specifically, which is the acting industry, which I think is much more relevant to film and television than it is to the theater. I don't know. I'm not as well versed in that, so it could very well be very influential. Actually, that's a lie. I would imagine a lot of Broadway and off-Broadway might be influenced by star value. I'm sure that's still a
Seems
thing.
to be. Seems like that's happening a lot.
But that's
Yeah.
star value is a little different than
Social media.
social media. Okay, so my
So in
qualms.
what way do you mean?
I just can remember specifically recently walking into an audition and asking how many Twitter followers I have had.
Isn't that such a weird question to ask?
And not only a weird question to ask, but ask me after my audition, not before my audition. That's how that's just how, I mean, I don't want to be asked in general, but
Right.
to be walking to a room and the first question asked is, so where are you at?
Right.
After
I'm not
this
even on
topic,
Twitter.
could you let us know how many Twitter followers you have?
Yeah.
What?
How many Twitter followers?
Yeah.
No,
if you
after
don't
the
wanna-
topic.
Oh, after. Oh, yeah.
After-
Please
Oh,
ask
okay.
me.
Sure.
Table man.
Respect my
Table man.
process, man. Go fuck yourself. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if you guys have experienced it. I'd be curious to hear any stories, but basically, and I've been in not workshops, but my classes that I've taken, and you'll have different casting directors come in, and some are so hell bent on, you need that following, you need those Instagram, you need 40K, this, that, the other thing, and some that really believe firmly that it's not a thing, and I totally respect that much higher. I think that. I don't know where I want to go with it, but basically, I just think it's such a sad thing that it's so heavily
It's like,
wanted, needed.
I think social media is tough because it feels like it can put the cart before the horse.
Mm.
You know what I mean? The cart being like recognition, fame. We know your name, we see your face for a reason. Used to hopefully be, ideally, because someone did something quality.
Mm.
They made a product, they wrote something, they had something to offer. Now that's a very like golden age idealized opinion because of course you had people, doing all sorts of immoral things to rise to the top, and then we all heard about them in a way that wasn't social media. But I think it can feel like you see someone, it's like you have 40,000 followers, and I'm sure you work very, very hard on your Instagram, but in and of itself, what is that actually? You know what I mean?
I just my personal belief is I think it should come after. I think there's nothing wrong with social media. I think we all kind of use it and have good ways of using it, but I wish that it would come after the work's been done versus
Right. No,
versus
Yeah, I don't think we're
using
saying
it to.
I don't think we're saying it's unimportant. I don't think we're saying that people who dedicate their time, and some people dedicate their lives to like making a polished profile, like on Instagram profile where they have exquisite photos, and they take people they know in the industry and they take a great, they really build up people's careers. I don't think that's necessarily wrong, and I think it's something that should be applauded, but I also think it's hard if the person isn't specifically trying to be a photographer or an artist, and it's just like, here's me as an actor, you should know my face because I have all these good photos of me. It's like, well, I'd rather know you if you're an actor from seeing you act than know you from seeing pictures of you or reading your clever tweets. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I think it depends on what, at least for me, I feel differently about people. Like, if I'm just seeing someone who's a singer, it's like, great, like, you're probably an attractive person and someone's taking really great photos of you and you are branding yourself. That's smart. But I'd rather hear your music.
Yeah. Right.
I would rather get that first. And maybe they're probably hoping I see their face and that leads me to their music.
Mhm.
So it's tough. It just depends on how you react to it personally.
Right. I guess maybe rephrasing my question would be.
What are you smirking at?
No, you go ahead. You rephrase.
How do you handle? Well, maybe I don't want to rephrase it. I don't know, something about how you handle dealing with. How do you handle which material you pick to do, which projects you choose to do, with that with.
Wait, like through the lens of social media, or how you announce
No,
it?
I just think
or
okay.
how
So
you
maybe
share it.
maybe it's less of a question, but more of a. My personal goal is to choose projects that I mean, it's tough because you're at a level that I'm like having a personal crisis right now because I'm thinking about just booking a project that is wonderful and exciting, but you kind of are at a level where you have to say yes to things, and the more things you say yes to, I think the more it comes to you. But I'm also someone who believes that we should be picking projects that really do something for us, or we believe will do something for other people. So it's really a difficult game because what we forget is that our business is a business and also an art form. And this is kind of the conversation we had last week too, but it's such a funny thing that we say as artists, we say yes to so much, but it gets us, like you said last week, not to, it gets us the money to then make the project that we want to make, to then make the project that, so it's a game we play, but I think it's the balance of it all. But I'm kind of sidestepping a little bit. Go ahead. Why don't you guys throw in?
Let me get you my stretch of the day.
Please.
Or I think it's time. I'm gonna really reach for this one. So if you disagree with me, that's totally fine. I'm almost expecting it. I understand why social media works. I understand how. I mean, to a certain degree, I understand how it works. I understand why there's an appeal, and I understand what it can do, the possibility, the potential that it has. But, and here's the stretch, I don't think that that's going to be as big of an issue 5 or 7 years from now than it is now, or from 5 to 7 years ago. So like Twitter was super crazy, or Facebook, 5 to 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Granted, it was already up and in its full swing, but like now, like your parents are on Facebook, and like your grandparents are on Facebook. Where like maybe when we were in high school, like I remember when I was in high school, my sister, being older than me by 2 grades, she was like, Facebook's not for you. You're not a high schooler. Like, you're in middle school. Why do you have a Facebook? It's not for you. Go back to your MySpace. Or, it's just kind of that, like, she's making fun of me or whatever, but and I'm sure that there were college kids that were older than her being like, why do you have a Facebook? You're in high school. What do you like enjoy talking
Are you in
about?
Harvard?
Yeah,
No.
you're not. Like you're not in the bicycle room in Harvard.
Do you row?
Yeah, you're
No.
No.
Do you have a twin?
No. You're not Facebook material. No, but like she didn't need.
But also, I'm suing you
I'm
for $50 million.
I can't wait to look. Whatever. I'm not gonna put that movie. But so now, fast forward 5 to 7 years, and I mean, like, if you, I mean, you can't honestly convince me that anybody is going to these Facebook events that everyone gets invited to. You get, the random person that you were in a college class, and they're promoting like a band show, and they're not even in the same city that you met, and it's just like that. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. It's cool that you're advertising. Like, you're sending it out to somebody. People are seeing it, but like, I don't know. Call me old fashioned, but like, I just don't believe that people in large numbers that are actually going to have any sort of effect, like positive impact, are going to go and do that. So I think, the same way with Instagram, the same way with Twitter, the same way with, I don't know, things like Snapchat. And I'm not meaning to say this as like a metaphor that applies to like the larger, whole like social media movement as a whole, but like maybe it is just like Snapchat, and it's 10 seconds that you click on it and you get to see it, and then there's going to be something else that comes along. There's going to be the next thing. There's going to be the newer thing. There's going to be that we're not going to be as informed about as the 17-year-old kids that are alive now, or the 13-year-old kids that are alive now. So so that's one side of it. I think like, and I honestly believe, I don't know, I just deep down I think that's how it is. I think that it lends itself. Social media can lend itself well to the visual arts, and it's really really cool to see photographers work. And I follow photographers.
Sure.
And it's nice to see the progression of how their work changes over time, and it's very cool. It's great. I think as it relates to the film, television, theatrical worlds, I think it's used now by casting directors, what you were talking about earlier, as judging a completely different metric, and I don't think that it has any sort of relevance at all in determining anything about the project.
Right.
Because unless you're somebody like Kendall Jenner, like you're somebody who is like a social whatever, a socialite, a something, like her job is she gets paid to promote brands, like that's it.
Sure.
Unless you're somebody like that, it might be, you might hear something that Pete Holmes talks about, and you might go out and support that because you value his opinion, but it's like, I don't know, like, are you gonna watch a commercial, or are you gonna watch a short film based on how many followers?
Right.
Like somebody tweeting out like, hey, you should look at my, I don't know, I just maybe I don't know, maybe I just feel so poorly about myself and like my online presence, and I'm insecure. But like I don't know, I don't think highly enough of myself to where if I were to tweet out to my 210 meager followers, hey, check out this video, and these are like friends of mine, like people that I know that know me, that
sure.
we like I don't believe that somebody on the internet who's never met me before is going to be like, oh, you know what, I'm going to look at this 15-minute short of something because this kid tweeted me.
Right. I guess for me, it has to, as I've been saying, listening to you guys, it has to be like the gateway to something else.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just has to be like, hey, like if you have a cool Instagram and you have lots of followers, but what you're Instagramming about is this awesome art project you're working on, or this group of friends that you're supporting who's doing something interesting, and you know what I mean? I think that's really cool. That's why I really like The Rock's Instagram. It's usually promoting his movies and stuff like that, or his production company, but it's usually he writes really long posts that have nice things to say about the people he works with. It seems informative. Right. It seems to be him using his platform.
Sure.
And also, like, I know that he's someone out there who has a reputation for working really hard, so you kind of, like, you feel okay with the fact that he has millions and millions and millions of followers.
No, I get that, but that's not art. I mean, it's cool, and that's nice. No. But I think like when you're I think that those are two different things. In the same way that
What I wasn't saying that it's art. I was just saying that I appreciate it, and it's led me to appreciate some of his art more. It's like the bridge.
Sure. Yeah. I see. It's more of a connection to his life than it is to his, and then it kind of feeds into his. I don't know, if you have a connection with an artist's life, maybe you're also more apt to be interested in their art. I don't know, but. I agree with Michael at the same time. I don't think it's by any means art. That wasn't what you're saying, but I would like to believe they continue to stay separate. And also what I'm happy about is that I don't think any of that has been weighed into Oscar nominees or any of the greatest films. I don't think any social media presence is...
it's not necessarily affecting things.
It's not necessarily affecting things. And I like the fact that what you said too about how quickly things change, and the media itself, film and television and VR and all this stuff continues to change so much that probably you're absolutely right that the way we go about it might also kind of shift.
I mean, I would love to make art with social media in mind, like, specifically. Like, I think it would be really cool to film like a movie that exists, like one take each time. Okay, that's a fucking play. But it's like, what,
we'll slip that in there.
Wait a minute! Oh no! I am a genius! I am Oscar Wilde. No, like, I mean, it would be cool to film something like, whatever. I mean, it would be cool to, like...
something temporal.
You get one shot, it's made for Snapchat, it's made with that understanding of, like, it's not it's not a play. It's something that you sit far away from. You know, anybody could see it. Any given time. Like I'm all for that. Like if you want to publish a book via Instagram post, I'm all for that. Because that's what it's for. Like
Yeah,
if you're using it,
to the
if you're using it for
product, the art,
right?
Yeah.
But I can't go with, you know, two things being different, but then, and there's no real cause for, you know, comparison, and yet it's something that's linked as, I don't know, I don't think that it makes sense, and it seems like that's like a very antiquated, that's like how many records do you sell a week, how many venues can you sell, how many seats can you sell at a concert venue, like that metric, that's like a 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s way of doing it.
Right.
Looking at it. That's not, it doesn't ring true. It's like that doesn't...
Yeah.
So can it justify then what I'm saying about when you walk into an audition and you prepared your sides, you put in all this time and effort, and that's the first question you get. That's basically my only qualm.
Right.
I think it's
yeah.
ridiculous. It's like such a shitty... It's just like it doesn't... Because if that's the same... Man, I'm about to go off.
I mean, I would...
But it's the same thing about, like, getting casting breakdowns for, like, Michael Cera types. And, like, I get it. He has a type. It's very distinct. But, like, if you want a Michael Cera type, go get Michael Cera. If you want somebody that's skinny, nerdy, introspective, reflective, awkward, like, say that. Like, don't... Like, it's a cop-out to be like, well, that's exactly what I want, but I'm just going to say Michael Cera type, or Seth Rogen type, or Jonah Hill type.
Here's to respecting women.
Here's to respecting women. I'll drink to that. Sure. But you know what I mean? It's like if you want a social media star, if you want somebody who has 1.2 million, then you're not going to find him on Actors Access on this self-submit. So you're not going to find him on LA Cast. Like,
he was there the whole time.
They're doing other things.
Martha.
They're selling other stuff on the internet.
Martha's
they don't
fantastic,
need
right?
you. There's no reason for it. Like,
Right.
I don't know. It seems so silly.
The only time I would be okay with this, to play like devil's advocate, is if it was two actors, both clearly well prepared, both did excellent reads of the part, and then the casting director has to be, who do we pick? Then if you want to go with someone who has a bigger social media following, sure, why not?
But I feel like
You're fickle and petty and shallow, and you're chasing after a shadow.
Well, no, because it goes
Nothing's
back to
gonna
what we talked
last.
about before, which is that you need to make the art to make more art. So
Yeah,
if
but I
you're
feel
in the
like-
business of making art, because it is a business, I don't necessarily like that that's what they would do, but if it's literally like even, and one person has
I
40,000
guess,
more
see,
people who will see the movie poster,
That's the
I can't
only
blame
time.
the person's logic. Doesn't mean I support the decision.
No, but
But
that,
you can't
That's the
blame the
only
person's
time
logic.
the only time I would say it's okay is if it was completely even, which I don't even think could happen. But basically, I feel like so many
Yeah, it's
times,
pretty-
so many times it happens that there's a better actor and they go with the one with the social media following. Why would you not want your project to? I mean, there's, I don't know. It's a
Because
tough
yeah,
one
it's
because you
a
got to
money
sell
thing.
your project. You got to
Right.
get your project.
Right.
But boy, how many times has the better actor been unnoticed?
I do not believe that stuff translates. I don't think, because look at it this way. If you look at any of the any popular movement, I think of like Kony 2012, right? So that stuff was going around Twitter
Wow.
like a wildfire. There wasn't. Yeah, no. And you know, it's all invisible children, and it's like, you know, people like tweeting all of these things, and there were videos that were made, and there were posts, and there were people that were, like, they were doing everything that social media was made for. You know, you're able to see a very, very distinct perspective from somebody who is way more informed, they're way more knowledgeable about something, and you're able to learn something from them and be like, great, awesome. I can now understand something like quantum physics because I have somebody like, you know, Neil deGrasse Tyson to explain, like, all right,
Sure.
here it is, and tweet it. Awesome. So they come out with this campaign, they push it out, it's everywhere. The hashtag Kony 2012 and at least 6 or 7 different iterations of that are all going around the internet. And the way that people were making it out, it seemed like that we were going to, I don't know, pick up the world and like move it or something. Like it was like, we're gonna stop this, we're gonna do, and it was a very, very good sentiment, and it was, you know, it was very well placed, and maybe it wasn't, and it came out later that there might have been stuff that was going on with invisible children that was some strange, but for what it was, it still didn't happen the way that everyone thought it would, and I don't think that necessarily has to do with like the generational difference between like our generation and like you know, like our grandparents jumped out of planes and fought Nazis and we're having difficulties like getting off of the couch. Like I don't think it's something like that, but you know, I think it's just a case of, it's just how social media works. You get so desensitized, and again, I cannot back this scientifically at all, but at least for me as a person, I feel so desensitized to the stuff that I see on my phone because I've seen so many other things. It's like, how do you make the difference between Hurricane Harvey or Sandy or Katrina or any of it when you can see at any time footage and detailed accounts, personal stories, anecdotes, news cover, any of it, and it's like I don't know.
I think.
Can I just put a quick plug in? Sure. This is exactly my one of my pastor mates is doing a project right now called #PrayFor, and it's about this very specific topic of we're desensitized because we see so many, you know, for example,
right.
pray for this, that, the other thing. You're
the idea
so
like
much.
You're putting sentiments or thoughts or something.
Yeah, right.
Isn't it? And it's intentional thought. It's the idea of mindfully putting your attention and focus on something. Is there any action that's to it, or is it just a?
You know,
idea.
I'll just throw her name, Erin Williams. You can look her up. I don't know the exact what she's going for exactly, but she's pitching.
You should have her on and talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
It'd be fun.
Absolutely.
I will say I agree with everything you said, Michael, but I also think that it's helping more than it's hurting. As in, like, I think that more people are going to. It's like, for example, Puerto Rico has maybe no power now for the next several months.
Sure.
More people are going to donate to that because they see it on social media. So I think there's like, yes, with like the hashtag in 2012, there's going to be ideals and everyone's going to be screaming like it's Braveheart, and we're not going to probably reach what that gold standard is. But I feel like it still is better than if we didn't have that.
Right.
We're doing something more.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that in terms of entertainment, that if that is like the most noble cause that you can do on the internet or on social media is donate to the Red Cross with a hashtag for Hurricane Harvey, I think going to see a FGHIJKLMNOP level project of somebody tweeting out, good luck. I mean, like, you know, maybe if Jennifer Lawrence or Tom Cruise tweeted something about, you know, something that they were on, or Tom Hanks, and you followed them on it, yeah, you might be more able or more likely, but...
No, I completely disagree with that. Because I feel like you can find what you're interested in on the internet. Like, if you want, like, sure, if you're just going to go to Twitter and, like, what's trending, sure, you'll get stuck on the major hashtags and that's whatever. But say, you know, like Sleeping at Last or something like that, that's small and not many people find out about. You probably found out more about them through Twitter, through the internet. You found them, maybe you got onto their website. I don't know how you found out about them. But I know a lot of people, they get into communities like we're trying to foster. You find something that you're more specifically interested in, and then you can get to it. Whereas before, it would have been, it's just what's on the news, it's just what's on this, and that's all you get. So I think that while there is so much noise, there is a quiet little sub-layer to that. Right.
But we're talking, I'm talking about like you're talking about real artists. I'm talking about the people that go into the calls that we go into. Okay. I'm talking about the people who are like the casting breakdown is like the character is in a suit and they show up in like jeans and flip-flops and they're holding like a headshot that's like crumpled up and it's like they pulled it out of like their pants or from their seat. Like that's what that's what you're talking about, right? Absolutely. Like casting breakdowns where you go into a casting office and they're like, okay, so how many followers do you have?
Right, it's a fame grab.
Who the fuck cares about what that do? Right. I couldn't care less about anything that's going, like, because those are, I mean, we're all in the same boat, and it's cool. Like, I'm not trying to, like, I'm not trying to shit on people who are like on the same level.
Mm-hmm.
Great, like we're all there. We're all trying to get out. We're trying to get up and up and up, and
Right.
like more power to you. But and maybe that is like a little elitist of me to say, but in the same sense, I don't expect people to care the same way about the stuff that I'm doing right now, that
Sure.
I'm working on, that I'm putting or posting about.
Right.
And like I expect the same. It's like, all right, like I live
Right.
like 2 people are watching this. I made that joke all the time. Or like my mom's the only like maybe not, maybe probably, but maybe not. And if we get 6-10, awesome. That would be
Right.
50 more than I thought would ever like watch it. Okay, but like I'm not going out there and like tweeting about like, oh hey, like look, like we're on set, like we're like podcast, like we're grinding. Like I don't know, it doesn't translate.
But
to
doesn't
me.
that? But isn't that if it's a
See,
gateway to something? Isn't that what we were just saying is good earlier?
Yeah,
Because it's different. I guess to me, what you just said, being like, hey, you're on set. Hey, here we're trying to do something creative, and we're filming a podcast that we hope will help us and help other people. Great.
Right.
I don't see that as being. Of course, it's self-indulgent because we're in it, but I don't see it as being self-indulgent as if this was all we were doing and we weren't trying to do other things layered beneath. Because I think what you're talking about is, you said the person who just comes in with like the crumpled up headshot, whatever. That feels to me more like a fame grab, like someone who's, you think of the prototype person who's looks like a model and they just come into Hollywood and everyone grabs them because they're pretty and throws them up and you're like, oh, maybe you weren't trained or maybe you don't have an artistic perspective. Whatever.
It's just it seems.
But I feel like that we gotta be careful saying, because I think there's something you can learn from seeing like social media of people on set or on backstage.
I am
show.
not. But see, that's the point that I'm trying to make. Is I'm not trying to devalue anything that comes about from social media. I'm simply trying to address it for what it is.
Sure.
And that it is media that its main purpose is to be shared and to be seen by as many people as possible.
Okay.
Not to
In
elevate.
the same way that there are big box office movies that come out every single year that have huge budgets. They're meant to be seen by a lot of people. They're trying to. I'm not trying to like belittle shit on that's, and there are of course things that exist outside of that structure and framework that are fantastic, great movies, well written, all that stuff. Same with social media, but it's just they're 2 different things, and it's not. They're in the same realm, but you can't. I don't feel like that you can necessarily single. I can't. I don't feel like that you can single out social media or a presence or a following as if that by any way informs the art that's getting made for what it is.
Right.
It could matter in terms of distribution or views or retweets or stuff later, but as it relates to the art, that doesn't matter.
It should be.
It does. It doesn't matter how many followers you have. It doesn't
shouldn't.
matter about your aesthetic, although that could be informative for you as a person and how you see yourself or your art or your work as an artist. But I think that's almost to me, and again, I'm just on one and it's a stretch, but that's like asking something as arbitrary as like I don't know, it's gonna be a really crass example, but like you playing a romantic role in them asking the size of your penis. It's like it's just not important. Like it has nothing to do with it. It shouldn't be an issue. Nobody should be thinking about it. You're completely missing the point. I'm not saying that it's like this offensive, gross, nasty, despicable thing, but in my mind, like, it's just a silly question. It's just a stupid thing to ask, like, oh, you have 1,000 followers? Oh, great. We'll take you over the one who have, oh, you have 15,000 followers? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, like, maybe it gets into, just the way that it works, and there are Belmont bands that have, like, less, I don't know, and there are those that have more. I mean, it's just,
I don't
know.
think
I don't
it
know.
informs the quality of the art. I think it can inform you about the artist, and I think that's what I would be interested in because it takes a lot of work.
But yeah, but just because something that you tweet
No, and I'm not saying that
gets
that's the art.
retweeted by so many different people, that doesn't make it more valuable than something that only gets retweeted 3 times.
No, I'm not talking about like a one-hit wonder tweet. I'm talking about like someone who's dedicated to their art, first off, but they're also dedicated to their Instagram because it's part of their brand. And like we've said, they need to establish that brand to make money, so they keep going. And it's not about the social media, it's about what their art is, but they're dedicated to the Instagram or Twitter or whatever it is because it leads people to that. I don't think it's necessarily something that's inherently wrong with social media as a whole. I think it all has to do with how it's used.
Well, yeah, but then in that case, then why wouldn't you just make really, really good art and you'd use social media as a way to share that rather than trying to like be like the honey and the
Sure.
Yeah,
I would agree with
that's
that.
the
Yeah.
baseline.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that.
That's the baseline.
I'm just saying, I still could support. I mean, if it's a business and a casting director's trying to make a decision, and you have 2 people that are similar, and one person has taken the time to be dedicated to get a social media following like that, and it's not one that's like crass or like here's photos of something that's clearly supposed to be voyeuristic. I don't necessarily think that you should discredit that because I know people honestly work really hard at it. And if it is to something that is artistic of its own nature, it doesn't necessarily offend my creative sensibilities. It sucks. I mean, it does in a way because, but I think that's just something that the romantic in me wants to be like, no, it should be solely based on something else, and I don't want it to ever factor in, but I don't feel like you can blame someone for letting it factor in if all other things are even. But I know you guys are talking about when you have someone who's of a higher artistic quality and then someone steps over them because of their social media.
This is
That
the problem.
sucks.
We're asking to jump into a medium that is dependent, and I'm talking specifically film and television at the level we want to play at, is dependent on its audience. Because it is...
Views.
It's views. So the game we play is that I think you and I completely agree, and Craig too, but we don't want that to be the deciding factor. But we're jumping into specifically film and television where the casting directors at this level are like, this is what we think matters. So...
And to that I would say then go make your own stuff.
Right.
Go make your own art.
But that's what everyone's doing.
Right.
That's what they're realizing is like, fuck these people. And I also feel like it is happening less than maybe... I don't see too much of it. I saw the one specific...
I think I've gotten
I
that
stay
asked
away.
like at least 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. I try to stay away from it. If that's
I've
the
never
thing,
been asked it in the room, but I've
next
been asked
time-
it via email.
If I was asked that at my level, where I'm at now in putting time into something like that, I would probably walk right back out the room. There's no point in... You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like we're all mostly on
it's
the
a
same
very-
page with this.
Complex.
Yeah,
But at the same time, I think it was a great question to bring up, but I also think it's something that I'm tying 2 things together that I don't personally think should be. It's interesting.
I don't know. I think it's a waste. I think it's beneficial for for you to use as a consumer, as somebody who, and that's why it's like it is and it isn't. So, because yes, of course, by that logic, somebody could be doing the same thing for you as an artist that you're doing to others. Like you're following the people that you like, or you're listening to a podcast and you're like, I'm gonna go look him up on Twitter or hear her stuff, or like go watch something theirs on YouTube or whatever, and you engage in that way. Sure, of course, but I think that it's like that stuff. The stuff that draws you in is it's not the social media. It's not the presence that they have. It's not the fact that so and so has 1.3
Right, you're not looking at the
million
number.
followers, but that's the metric that they are using. Like that's the
Yeah,
logic.
right.
That's but that's exactly what it is. So I think sure if that's. I mean, yeah, you can cast however you want to cast. I'm
Sure.
not a casting director. If they want to go off of followers, cool, great. If they want to go off resume credit or who that person is, whatever, that's for them to decide. But I think that
Mm-hmm.
those are it's two different things. It's not the same thing. Your audience or your reach, it shouldn't be indicative of how well something is going to do. I think it's a waste of time and it's silly to think.
Well, we have the choice. We always have the choice to.
Yeah.
I feel like somebody I could think off the top of my head who and we'll get off this topic, respect highly though, is like someone like Viggo Mortensen who stays out of that limelight. Even somebody, I mean, you could say somebody like Daniel Day-Lewis too. You
He doesn't
are
see light.
incredible. He doesn't see light. You're incredible artists that have found your way through the business, but have also said "fuck you" to the business. You know what I mean?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And been able to do incredible art that mass millions appreciate, but not had to even bat an eye at how you did it.
It's got to be even more rare of a needle in a haystack than anybody. I mean, it's like Bill Murray doesn't have an agent or something. Like if you want Bill Murray in a movie, you gotta call him and be like, "Hey, Bill, let's work on a film together." And like that's how he does it. But like that's like 1 in a million. Like nobody does that. Yeah. Nobody doesn't have an agent, or nobody doesn't. You know. So it's. I mean, it's hard to say, but I mean, I don't think that there is another solution. If somebody's going to decide for themselves that that's the yardstick that they want to measure their potential.
Oh yeah,
cast,
I don't think we were
go ahead.
ever trying to suggest that should be the absolute reason someone gets cast. All I was trying to say, 'cause I do agree with you guys for the most part on this, is that in the same way that like, I think if this is a beautiful piece of art, whatever we're talking about, a book, a poem, an album, a film, it's inherently as valuable if it's written by someone who has no social media following or someone who has 50 million followers. That thing on its own is still worth whatever it is worth as that piece of art. But I don't think I wouldn't want anyone to feel like they have to condemn the artist for promoting that to the point where they get 50 million. I don't necessarily see that as insincere. It can be.
Because I think that's like the work. I'm going to quote Red, but the work should speak for itself.
But but you're letting the work speak for itself by showing it on Instagram. It's the same way. It'd be like if to go to like Red. That'd be like if Mark Rothko didn't let anyone put like write-ups of his work in the newspaper or put up his art in a gallery. Like it's just a different way of viewing it. It's just like Instagram is like the newspaper now. You know what I mean? It's just different.
Yeah, but it's something that like you directly have control over, and that things can be manipulated. I mean, it's sketchy. It's like you can get followers on Instagram who are robots and they don't exist and they're not real people, or they're it's like certain demographics, or it's like golly, I want to say a buddy of mine from Belmont had like just like hundreds of Brazilian girls that were following his music and their band, and they were real people. I'm sure like they would like type to him in the band in like Portuguese, and it's like that's great that there's like 300 Brazilian girls that are a fan of this band and whatever it is that they're doing, what they're making. But it's like, are they buying albums? Are they going to see shows? Are they going to their U.S. tours and stopping by and buying merch? No. Mm-hmm. So it's like, like it could measure something, and that's great if somehow somebody can look into their crystal balls and see. But I think I'll tell you, I'm going to get to the bottom of it. This is what makes me mad, that there are people that spend more time worrying about what it is that their work is going to look like on social media rather than making the work good in the first place.
Sure.
Perfect example. There was a girl from Belmont who had a band that she started, and they did a photo shoot for an album cover for an album that was not even fucking written yet.
Yeah.
Right.
Wasn't even written. Not a shred of music. Had no demos, no rough cuts, no jam, no nothing.
Right.
She spent like $1,800 on, or her, somebody else, not her, but somebody spent $1,800 for her and her bandmate to go and get this photo shoot of, have this guy come down from New York or LA or somewhere interesting and shoot them and, do all of this stuff. And it's just like, that's what social media does.
Yeah, sure.
That's what, to me, that as an artist, like, that's what I see. I see the good. I
Sure.
see it for exactly what it is. Being able to connect with other people and to get, do all
Right.
that.
And I would never suggest anyone support social media if there isn't the product there, if there isn't the intent.
Right.
If the album isn't written,
But that's
you shouldn't have the album.
But that's what people. I think that's what people are more concerned with.
Sure.
How many? It's assigning value based on page views, based on clicks, based on likes, retweets, favorites, any of that stuff.
Mhm.
It's silly. I think that's a dumb way to measure.
Right.
It's So, because it's the same thing with art. If you go back to go to like the Cubists, if you look at or the Impressionists with Van Gogh, like nobody gave a shit about his work when he was alive. Didn't make it any less valuable, but nobody. So you could have picked up that photo. You could have picked up that portrait for like a nickel because he was wiping his ass with it. He was fucking sleeping with his paintings or
Right.
whatever in like a hole, unable to heat his own apartment. So you could have bought that for a nickel or a loaf
Right.
of bread, and now that's worth at least 200 or 20 million. I mean, just like some crazy number.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's the same thing with social media. It's like you can have something that is wonderful and crazy and awesome and beautiful, and that has 600 retweets, and you have, I don't know, it's so many.
It's
posts.
yeah.
It's just.
I'm about to cut my own question short here.
No. I think like what you're saying could be summed up in like it's like don't judge a book by its cover, right? It's like what's in the book. In a way.
Yeah, but the whole of social media is designed to judge the book by its cover.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, it is and it's the same reason why Instagram posts now with the new metric. If the more attention it gets in the first hour that it's posted, it's pushed up. If it doesn't get any attention, it gets pushed down further on the timeline.
So that's
crazy.
Then it's just about the people who are using it.
No, I mean
Right.
it's about everything. It's about the system in place. It's about the platform, the way that it's used, the way that it's designed, the functionality, how users interact with it. I mean, it is just it's smoke and mirrors. It's puppets and strings. Call it for what it is. Like it's fine. Like that doesn't bother me. It's not like I'm like I see a
Sure.
Twitter page and like flip the fuck out.
Right.
Still sit on the toilet and flip through a couple nice little Twitter moments, or look at some Instagram posts, or read an art. Like I'm only human. I'm flesh and blood too. But it's like
Love a good inkwell filter.
don't piss on my back and call it a soft spring rain. When
Right.
it's not.
Whoa.
I'm just being honest.
Don't hand me a Gatorade and say it's a Powerade, Sean.
Hey, don't tickle my tummy and call me poo.
Hey, land of the
Listen,
ship.
I think the important message to take away from this, artists, friends, is that we should focus on the art
Just
first.
make art.
Make
Just
the
make
art.
art.
Make what
And
you
I
love.
think, I think that's all. I think that's all we were all ever saying. I think it just was like we got help.
It's
like,
very
the
muddy.
different details. It's so complicated because it depends on
But
so many different things.
without going back into it, I think it's an interesting
let's go
question.
back into it.
Hopefully, whoever does the 2-3 people who watch this will kind
I
of
hope they're
dig
all
into this
casting
question.
directors. They look at me and they say, "That guy, he's never working in this town again."
But gosh darn it, I got a Michael Cera project and he'd be perfect.
I like his moxie.
So if we could take this time to like my Facebook page.
I
Yeah,
was gonna
Sean,
do
what's
that.
the-
I
what's
was
the
gonna-
Instagram
I was
handle?
gonna
What's
do
the Twitter
I don't even
handle?
know my own.
I wish you would
Oh man.
plug something.
Plug
Put it at the
something.
bottom. I'm gonna put. No.
So boys.
I don't even want to get into the third
I was
topic.
about
I'm
to say
so upset about
time wise. You're so upset. That was a great
it.
discussion.
Nah, I don't. It just makes me feel.
But
bad.
I'm glad I brought up the
that was
question.
so yeah.
I'm
That was
glad I
great.
brought up the question because I think that's exactly what I think it was gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
Are we a good like cross sampling? Do you think that this is? We've got like
Oh,
the
absolutely.
three different, and not that these are the only three opinions on the subject, but I feel like they were pretty varied. What else? How do we feel about
Well,
social media? Let's ask the 2 or 3 people that we've got.
Carl.
Text us, email us, tweet at.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Give us your
Yeah, like
experience
I
with-
want to hear. I really am. I am curious to like how people think about it. Am I misguided? Am I blowing things out of proportion? I feel like I'm making a big deal out of this.
I just
I get that
I
feeling
just feel
deep
like
down.
it depends on how you.
Yeah.
I think it just depends on how you use it. It's like the same way. Let's dive right back.
Oh God.
No.
No, keep
No,
going.
it's not even. No, keep
Sean,
know,
You know,
can I
I-
take a pee break? That's
Go
all.
ahead,
Yeah,
get out
yeah.
of there. Just cross in front of
You
a
know,
frame, do
listen, I
something
like
funny.
to have a conversation while I'm in the bathroom, so you
Oh
may
my
still
gosh,
hear
yeah,
my voice.
we'll pick it
We'll
up.
probably pick it up.
All right, boys, let it rip.
I think, Michael, I agree with everything you're saying philosophically about it. I just think I don't want to condemn. It'd be like, I'm pretty sure the film industry didn't live for a long time off of people making like pornos, and haven't people probably used pens to do a lot of terrible, you know what I mean? But you gotta look for the people that are doing it the right way. That's all I'm saying, and I would never want anyone to be rewarded for doing it the wrong way, and I don't think you would either.
No.
But you still gotta
But-
but I don't blame someone who's doing it the right way and making the right thing.
But the person who's doing it the right way, that's not art, that's business. Two
Right.
different things.
Right, but
Two different
doing
things.
it the right way with social media
Is
as we
being
established,
is being
is
an
hopefully-
artist and being a good business person. It does not mean that you are solely just a good artist that also happens to put in a lot of work and a lot of time and a lot of effort.
We've
in your
only,
Instagram or your
at least
Twitter.
I've only been talking about it as being like you have to have the A to B, and the A is the product, it's the album. And then if someone wants to take the time
Yeah.
to put in harder work
It's
to
because they're
promote their
it's
business,
because they are being a good business person.
which is there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but that's not the way that it's framed though. That's not
Oh
it.
no, not most of the time, but I'm saying you gotta look through the weeds for those people.
Look through the weeds for those people.
I just
Everything.
I don't think people are giving as thoughtful of a consideration to that.
Oh no, definitely not. But I'm
Well,
saying
that's
they should be.
well, that's a problem then. It's not the fact that you can go on Twitter and see all this stuff and be like, wow, James Harden is an incredible businessman because he's able to be seen so much on the internet, or Kevin Durant, or I don't know,
Which Kevin Durant Twitter account?
whatever, any of the three fake ones. But it's like,
Sorry.
no,
Yeah,
it's like
Kevin's like crap.
people associate that with like what it is that they are. It's not about being a business or a brand, even though if that's what it's about or that's what it is. It's still you are associating what they are known for primarily. I don't know. I don't even know where I'm going with that. I don't like it. It's not right. I don't believe in it. It's unholy.
There's something that can feel a little shaky. Can feel a little unsettling. A little off. Well guys, do we have anything else we want to say? Are we ready to wrap this up, put a bow on it,
I
ship
might,
it off to
I
Santa?
might bring some similar topics to the table pretty soon.
Yeah.
No, but you know what? I really think there might be some other people we could get some opinions on this whole
I wanna
ordeal.
hear
Who
about
have a
it.
different, maybe a different.
I want to get
Well,
stressed down. I want
yeah.
I want some like marketing major or somebody who's in marketing or to be like, listen, here are the fucking facts.
Well, actually, that's
This exactly relates to how I would love to see that.
I wasn't even thinking of playing like whatever amount of Devil's Advocate I played, but I thought about Tim Geddes from Kind of Funny, because he's talked a lot about social media stuff and people he knows who are in like San Francisco and do that, and I was like, yeah, they all work really hard, and they're all doing it to promote a product.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not
It's
disputing it.
No, I know you're not. I'm just
Yeah.
saying like
They're good business people.
it's so
They're hard
great.
workers.
It's
They're
all
good
so
business
great.
people. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're good artists. They can be. They can coexist.
Yeah, definitely.
But
Ugh, what a
It's
time.
it's different.
I say we take a break and come back tonight, revisit this. Everyone take 5?
I'm gonna drink and do
Alright.
some other stuff.
I'm gonna close this out. I'm gonna close this out, boys.
I don't
Alright,
know if
thanks
we're
guys.
coming back to
This has been the Empty Theater Show, the third and final episode.
Let me read about
That.
it. Let me read about it. Let me do some research.
Actually, we should
It's
bring
gonna be
it.
great. I really like this.
I'm gonna hit you with some facts.
We're gonna get some people on who know more about this than we do and get some more opinions. It'll be pretty fun. So thanks for watching, and please like, comment, and subscribe.
Not on social media. Don't like, comment, or subscribe.
We won't check it.
Go like,
Mail me.
comment, subscribe.
Sean, will you hit stop on that?
Snail mail is the